comfortable an artist is, the better.
The better. Yep.
The better it's going to be.
Absolutely. Okay, so I want to move on to the first song that I want to talk about today, which is "Still Feel" by Half Alive.
Yeah.
I have a very distinct memory when I first heard that song. I think it just like popped up on a random Spotify playlist. It was also before it really blew up.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing it. And I was like, damn, this thing sounds dope. And then I go check the credits. I was like, oh, Eric did it. That makes sense. And there's a couple really great sounds on there in particular that I want to ask about. And if you don't remember, we'll move on from it. That's fine. It's been a minute. The one sound on there that I really love are the drums. So what was that process like? And also just to go off that, I think you did one of the most seamless real drums into sample drums from, the verses and stuff into the chorus.
Right.
Ever. And what you do that a lot in your productions. What's kind of your trick to make that seem pretty seamless?
I think more than sonically, it's making sure that the feel is consistent.
Right.
So if the drummer's playing with a certain feel or any sort of swing or anything like that, it's like that needs to be like, that would be my first thought of like making sure that they both feel like they're the same person, the same spirit that's like moving forward.
Hearing you say that and I thinking of the song, that I think that's a big part of it.
That's my first thought, and that I think that is like more important than the sonics, because the sonics can switch on a dime.
Right.
And that's fun and exciting to listen to. But if the feel changes, unless it's an intentional thing,
right,
that's going to throw me out of the song.
Do you remember how you programmed in those sample drums? Were they played or were they just put on the grid and then moved around and shifted?
I don't totally remember, but like 95% sure that we used some samples that I had.
Yeah, and just like threw it in there.
Yeah,
and do the thing.
I don't know if we did this, but I have done this where it's like have the drummer play it and like get it to where the take's really tight.
Yeah.
And then place the samples over it.
That's kind of what I was like hinting at, because I was curious if that's how it was done.
Like, I don't know if I did that for that track, but I have done that in the past multiple times.
Yeah, it's a smart thing, because like I've always struggled with that. And it's like, like I've never thought about the feel. And it's like, if I had like a MIDI drum kit, it's like tell the drummer like, just play in what you think.
Yeah, and also that goes down to the dynamics too.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like doing just some gain automation.
Right.
Be like, oh, this hit wasn't as hard as this one. Whereas with electronic drums, it's easy. It's quicker for them all to be the same velocity.
Right.
But bringing in a little velocity change
makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and just like, but it still feels like rocking and modern. And Brett's an amazing drummer. He kind of has a little bit of a funk feel.
Yeah, the whole band does.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
And the bass player has real gospel chops.
Yeah.
Which I tried to bring out in a big way. And he actually had, I forget what they're called, but they're the 5-string, like all the big like gospel guys have them. He's got that bass.
Okay. I was going to bass sound is incredible. What are you using for bass? And that's what I'm glad you're going here. That was my next question.
And I thought that was unique.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to celebrate that. Yeah. I was like, I'm a bass player. My favorite bass is a P bass, like jazz bass, like give me those. But like, I love that he had that bass and that, he had that sound in his fingers.
Yes. I mean, that's so much of the player, which I knew what it was.
Right.
But there's something that you do especially well with bass is you bring out that like upper mid range really well. Like what are some of what's
1.5K.
There you go.
That's
that's the secret
right there.
Are you doing most bass DI or how you recording that?
I'm actually working on an amp that I'm trying to make out of a B15 head.
Oh,
but with 10-inch speakers. I've had the bits for a while. I haven't finished it, but mostly I'm recording DI, and then depending on like as I get the production along down the line, I'll either reamp it or I use the Ampeg SVT, like the UAD one, all the time.
It's a great,
if something's more modern or more pop, I'll use the Eden head, which is an amazing bass sound as well, or the B15 one. But all three of those UAD ones are like...
I use them all the time. They're incredible.
They're great.
Yeah.
but I'll treat it like I'm recording a DI and an amp. So I'll keep my DI in the track, and I'll commit my amp. So I have both, make sure those are phase aligned.
Yep.
And then depending on the song, just yesterday I reamped the bass DI into a guitar cab because it's a rockin' song and it wants that. And so just made a gnarly distorted bass tone that ruled. And
that's not surprising with you.
And so jumping around a bit here, but like for most of the Bad Son stuff, I would take the DI, put that into an outboard Sans amp.
Okay.
And then put that through this Roland chorus echo, but with the echo off, just using the chorus.
Oh.
And it would be the distorted-y, chorus-y thing. Distorted-y, that's a good word.
Yeah.
And mix that in.
Yeah.
Depending on the track. I say it all the time, but it's just like, it should be fun.
Yeah. I would like, the Bad Sons record is like, I would love to eventually have you back, and I would just talk about everything you've done with them, because some of the work on there was really, really fantastic. Again, like I think what makes a lot of your production so special is the engineering behind it and the choices you're making. And I'm glad you bring that up, because their vocals, and in Half Alive, the vocals, I feel like every vocal you do, and maybe it's the BG2 or how you're doing it otherwise.
I didn't have that then.
Yeah. I mean, whatever.
So I don't know what I used.
But it doesn't even matter. But every single vocal you do and that you've mixed, they're warm, they're punchy, and they're so present, but they still have a lot of dynamic information in there. So what are you kind of like going for to make a vocal not super compressed, but still be right in your face?
The Half Alive song I didn't mix, but I sent him everything that I do.
Right.
And then he did a great job from there.
But I mean, almost every vocal you do is like this too. That's.
But I think a lot of it dynamically is just working on the arrangement.
Right.
And working with the vocalist and like trying to find the emotion of the song, trying to find, almost thinking of it like a movie.
Yep.
And being like, what's this character feeling?
Yep.